This is just a quick little test ride on a brand spanking new 2017 KTM 300 XC. And I'll just take her for a short little burn, just so you guys can kind of check it out. It's a pretty sweet bike. Super light, electric start, kickstand, 6-speed tranny, air fork. Hasn't been started in a few days here. I'll just choke it. One little button, one little press of the button. We'll warm her up slow here. Once I get going, I'll open it up a bit. Super light, super easy to change direction on. Real full power band, lots of bottom end into a nice surge. Great. It lowers the forks and the triple claps. Steepen up the steering angle a little bit, seemed to help a lot. Cranked in the rebound on the back. Stop the kicking forward. The stock setup was rebound was a bit too soft on it. But the thing feels like a trials bike when you get into more technical riding. from a Japanese bike over to this KTM. They've done a fantastic job. Thing feels better than the Yamahas. And the Kawasaki and the Suzuki. A real nice up-front riding position. Unbelievable light, nimble feel to this bike. The brakes on this bike are phenomenal. Better than any bike I've ever ridden. These brakes are awesome. Yeah, you just dodge stuff, man. Comes up a bit quick, you just lean this sucker over and it carves. Transmissions, nice and slick, nice positive shifts. For off-road, it's got the 18-inch back tire, which you get any of the motocross Japanese bikes. They're going to come with a 19. I find the 19s bounce you around quite a bit. I get flat tires quite frequently with the 19s. This has the much more thicker and wider 18, so I like that. It's good for these kind of rocks. You have to adjust your riding style a bit after coming off those big 450s. Front end's so light on this bike. Find yourself picking up that front tire a lot more than sometimes you might want. It's got that instant throttle response. You got to clear an object, you just feather that clutch lock. Just give it one little quick little loud tap. Bike response. Good for the tight trails because it's so easy to change direction on. Oh, that's a log. Do a bit of logging. A bike that you feel like you can ride all day long. Now, you guys might know me that I kind of had a passion for the 450s for a little while. Previous to that, I loved the 252 stroke. The 252 stroke is quite a bit more meaner in the way that it brings on its power. This one, although it's got the same peak power as the 250, they've done a good job of filling in all the gaps where the 250 might be lacking. So you get a great bottom end, smooths out that 250 hit. Watch this. I'll just show you how you can lug this bike. You can lug it all day long. And you have to be an idiot to stall this bike. Now, a lot of people I know like the recluse auto clutches, and me being one of them. Primarily on a bike that has a stalling issue or flame out, mostly them big 450 four-strokes. And if you ever get them too hot and you have a flame out or a stall, they could be a real energy sapper to get started again. This bike, if you do, watch, we'll lug it, it's in third gear. Now we'll be one of those idiots, we'll stall it, and I'll show you just how easy it is to get going again. Oh, pretty hard to stall. Oh, stalled it. No problem with a bike like this. The electric start, trust me, plays dividends on the amount of energy and stamina you can have come halfway through a real good cross-country race. It makes it a lot more enjoyable when you're not huffing and puffing. See that? I'm running real low in the power band right now, and if I see an obstacle that I need a quick little blast of juice to clear, it's just one finger away. It truly is. Off this front tire anytime you want. You can literally just pull up on the handlebars. This air fork has lightened up the front of this bike by at least a few pounds. I don't know the specifics at the moment, but I know they lost a few pounds just in the forks alone. So that's going to lighten up the steering, lighten up the whole front of the bike. Another thing that I'd like to mention is I feel that the broad power band, although very smooth, it can be mild or it can be wild. Completely up to the rider and how he chooses to ride this bike. You can be aggressive with it, get all kinds of smiles, or you can get a little bit tired, run around a gear taller, save a bit of energy, get the energy back for when you want to get wild again. A little bit of a problem I was having with the 450 was the engine braking. Now, you get used to that, everybody will tell you. You get used to it, and you do. But I'll tell you this, on the older fuel injection, like the bike I was riding, the 2011, they didn't quite have the fuel injection dialed in, and it made for a real jerky ride off idle. Well, when you're in a lower gear like first or second, you got that jerky fuel injection, you'll notice you're really seesawing back and forth on the bike. That wears the guy out. Also, I won't criticize the 450 for its design to be a motocross racing bike. No doubt about it, I think a 450 motocrosser on a motocross track might very well eat this bike up a little bit. But this bike's home is cross country. And it's purposely built for that. And you feel that in all these trails. It's got very plush suspension over any of these sharp edge rocks or G-outs, water, road deactivations. This bike handles that stuff extremely well. Extremely well. And also, the engine provides very good traction. A lot of people will say that the 4-strokes have more traction than a 2-stroke. I find that hard to believe when every hard enduro winner of any of the major venues, Herzberg, ISD, all these kind of super tough, gnarly enduro races, it always seems to be a 300 2-stroke in the winner's circuit. And these are races that require traction. So I'll differ with the other opinions and say that this bike has more traction available than any of the 3 450s that I own. Stand up on the pegs. Usually, I found on my 450s, I was always climbing uphill, sitting on the seat, trying to kind of grip the bike so the bike didn't get out from under me. This one, I find it reacts better to a stand-up riding position through anything gnarly. This one will probably be tough. Off chamber, standing up. Clutching it just enough to find traction and get up the hill. Stand up on this bike and you're comfortable. Make your own lines through the rocks and never feel really out of control on it. Sorry if you might not be picking this up. The sound, the sweet sound of this bike. And I hope you are. taking you guys for just a little taste of this bike. This is one of my favorite little trails. Branches are kind of falling down on it though. Got to come up here and do a bit of trail work. Now, I love 252 strokes. The longest time, that's all I rode, and I swore by them. But I recently got a chance to revisit time. I used to ride around a 2008 Suzuki RM 250. Actually had two of those bikes, loved those bikes. But after being on a 450 for a long time and then getting to try one that once had a friend come over and let me try his, I don't know, that bike is just too pipey, too aggressive for any kind of off-road. I mean, you would have to do a lot to make that bike trail friendly. Flywheel weights, you know, suspension work, all the upgrades to make that thing an off-road bike. These days, turn a motocrosser into a off-road bike is almost silly when these guys produce something like this, ready to rock. Peppy engine. Very peppy. That's so smooth. I don't know how they found such a balance. It must be that extra 50cc displacement just to fill in that bottom power. Just enough to make this bike explosive and friendly all in the same package. See how you just, man, it just makes you feel like Johnny Walker. Daddy, use that. Get on this thing, man. Very, very, very beautiful. Poetry in motion. Very, just gotta be the sweetest bike I've ridden. Well, I hope you enjoyed my little test ride. If you get a chance to buy one of these, don't pass it up. What a machine, I tell you. This is the off-road machine. 2017 KTM 300XC.